Hey everybody, Digital Sticks here, and here I am in VR chat. Now, I'm a fan of the fallback system. I think they've. I was happy to see it implemented at its bare bones level to begin with, and then they've taken it to some new potential, uh, which honestly just opened up other possibilities, and they still have further to go to get this right. And I'm going to demonstrate, as someone that's tried to make fallbacks to take full advantage of this new system, where they're coming up short visibly. Now, there's a couple different ideas I have for solutions for that. I mean, of course, they're going to do what they're going to do, or they're going to not do anything if they don't want to. But definitely, the fallback system is a great concept that has a lot of potential to basically fix this game as a crossplay platform. It has a chance to make crossplay pretty much on the money, with the exception of the highest end PC stuff. But the base level gameplay that we all enjoy, there should be that potential available for everyone, whether they're on a Quest or on a PC, whether they're on a potato PC or the top of the line PC. Having a quality experience in the game should help. So for this avatar, I have made a crossplay version that looks pretty decent. It's still it's a little bit reduced on polys, I believe, but mostly it's the same version with just the bones disabled and the mobile shaders. And so somebody is still going to have to manually show that to see it. But at least they have the option of seeing me on Quest. And if they do, they'll see me close enough to the PC representation that they're good. You know, the hair won't wiggle, but it'll be good. Well, now I'm just thinking about just chilling in VR chat, and I've got an avatar that I haven't hardly used that thought I would use. It's, well, why didn't I change? We'll try this again. And it's this one, another male avatar. Anyways, but this is not a crossplay avatar, so they're not going to see anything. Well, what's going to show up to somebody on Quest is my fallback avatar, which my personal fallback avatars were a work in progress. And so that left me looking yet again at the publics, where I found some that were actually, they looked amazing. And so I'm going to demonstrate this. So first off, my fallback for my main avatar, where it currently stands, is right here. So this is what's possible. Let me clip it. So this is what's possible. Like, this is not bad. I mean, in some regards. See, the hands, of course, they're lower poly, but they're not too bad. The designs are mostly there. I think, no, this one, my logo's there. I mean, the detail and the clothing is still there. I could just step out of the way, but let's see. Anyways, this is a fallback quality avatar, so it's almost there. But look, the eyes are kind of screwed up. I think the motion, I think I messed up on the visibeams. You lose the transparency just for it being Quest for one, and then, but look, the face is broken. And I was using the CATS blender process, baking process, and so basically the way this works is it takes a UV map of your avatar, multiple UV maps, and it takes them before any decimation, and then it puts applies those back to your model for the final look, and that's why you still seem to have acceptable detail, even though your poly mesh is way down. And it does even more than that. It actually, by only needing to form the shell of your avatar by any means necessary, it does some really bizarre things with the mesh that you could never do by design while sculpting it or whatever, but it's enabled because of the way that the baking process is going to work. Anyways, I've been able to make good quality PC versions of my avatar, no problem. But for the fallback system on Quest, they only allow it to be, you have to be good or excellent rating. So forget about the excellent rating. You have to be good, which means it's got to be 10,000 polys or less. So that's your decimation target. And you can only have one material, which in a perfect world, that's great. But the CATS baking process doesn't allow you any, you set your settings in advance and then it does what it does and you get the final result. There's not any way to take two materials and make them back into one. So for the PC side, you can have two materials and that works out pretty good. On the Quest side, you can only have one. So the problem that's coming in is faces. Now, honestly, this is pretty good. If only I could figure out how to keep it from breaking the face and putting holes in there that I can't fix, this would be on the money. Now, the actual colors looking a little faded or whatever, that's me needing to do, to kind of tweak the settings I had on the shaders and stuff. I can fix that. This avatar, if it weren't for breaking the face, would look almost as good as my main avatar, and anybody with their settings reduced or whatever, they would be under, unless they just were curious of what the higher resolution looked like, there would be no reason to show my lower performing avatar if they didn't want to, because we could still enjoy VR chat and it'd be reasonable. They're not seeing me as some creature that I'm not actually trying to represent as. They're seeing me as the avatar. So I love the potential there, but 10,000 polys and one material limit is just not practical for quality avatars. I think I could hit that if they would allow. I could have done it at 10,000 polys if they would allow for 2 materials. I could make that happen. If they would allow for 12,000 polys plus 2 materials, I could definitely make it happen. I could have an avatar that looks as good as my main avatar. And why is this important? Because it also wasn't that difficult. If I could, that little bit of leadway keeps me from having to work a flat out miracle and instead just embrace pretty much commonly known optimization techniques. And if you could end up with something that you actually like, hello, that's where users are going to create content. That's what they try to create. When the whole point of having a user content created game is so that users could create what they want. But they've got these restrictions for their ideal situation for the Quest avatars, just ridiculously too hard. It's actually not letting it be possible for users to create the content they want. And so you're back to a situation where there's a group of people that just aren't going to mess with it. They're not going to waste their time. They don't care. They may not even care whether their fallback avatar makes any sense. And if they don't care about their fallback avatar, that's diminishing the experience for the people on Quest. So now they're seeing sticks of butter, and those people aren't sticks of butter. Or whatever stupid thing they're choosing. And I didn't even know they'd changed the situation, so I didn't know that on PC, anybody on a PC or whatever, I didn't know. And so a lot of people were referring to me as a furry, and I'm like, sure, my avatar has a wolf boy, but I'm like, good grief, are these new kids in VR chat now, are they just so desperate to label someone a furry that they're going to wolf boys and call them furry? But it wasn't. It was because I was using that fallback. Anyways, the little wolf fallback. And again, for somebody that just wouldn't be able to see my avatar on PC or whatever, I didn't care. But when I was actually on a Quest, using a Quest avatar and still being seen as a furry, that's a little bit different. That's not just a few exceptions are seeing me that way. That's the way that people are seeing me by default, unless they happen to notice a little tiny icon. So that wasn't great. So again, somebody that doesn't care about this, they're going to go around as a stick of butter. Would VR chat be where it is today if your options were to choose between a paintbrush or a stick of butter? No, this is not how this game got to where it is. If somebody likes these or whatever, or they're low-key, they don't care, that's perfectly fine. But to not have better options than this. But where am I going with this? Why did I even make this video? Because so my fallback avatar is broken, and since I'm not going to actually be, I don't mind it being, it's close enough that when I'm actually using that avatar, especially since that avatar is crossplay, and there's no reason to say that avatar. We'll jump back to it. Sort of, I've got so many, okay, I got to delete a lot of my experiments. I guess this is why there's the test functions, but I didn't bother with it, so. Okay, so anyways, if my avatar represents this one and someone has the option of seeing this, then that's perfectly, it's not the end of the world to use even that broken fallback. But when that's not even going to relate to the avatar I'm actually using, then all that I'm represented by is a broken version of my main avatar. There's nothing that would actually make a little more sense, and to me, it's not like I'm going to lose sleep over it, but that's not what I want as my fallback if I'm using a completely different avatar. And the only reason I can't make a fallback for the completely different avatar is because the threshold is too hard to hit. This process of baking the avatars and stuff, with a little bit more leadway, most people following the simple instructions could make a worthwhile quality fallback avatar of any avatar they wished. And I mean, the actual size of the avatars is not going to matter. You might have to toy with it a little bit. Some details may be just too much. You may have to scale it down some and then make the fallback of the scaled back a little bit, but it's not going to be drastic. It will be decent. People could feel good about it. So, but back to this. So I was looking back through the fallbacks, and I'm going to show you what's possible. And this is why I'm making this video, because what is possible is amazing. VRChat is actually making it, they are trying to stick to some ideal numbers for the quest at the expense of nobody even trying to hit them. That's where this is going wrong. They are on the cusp of something great for the game, and they're blowing it. And this guy has several. I didn't even know they were allowing people to submit extra public fallback avatars, but this one is amazing overall, and this is what baking can do. See, this is very extremely low poly, but you can't tell because the baking process allows you to bake in the lighting and everything and have the baked on textures respond as though they truly are three-dimensional. So if you look really close, you get really close in there, you find out that's not three-dimensional. But because it does the shading and everything else, it completely fools the eyes, and it looks like this thing has amazing detail. And like, this is sub 10,000K polys? What? And look, again, let's look in the mirror. I think my hand was shaking a little bit there, but it's head to toe. Great looking avatar. This is what the baking process can allow you to do for any avatar. But what is the secret? How did this guy get it done when I didn't? Look at the eyes, look at the visamines, look at the details of the face. There are no details of the face. And this guy has submitted several of these. Let's see. I'll just do the choose fallback. Okay. Oh, well, I have to bring my camera down to, no, I can't move my camera. Okay. Hang on. This did not go as planned. Why? This is weird. Okay. Well, let me try this again. Well, what is that? Okay. Maybe I could have moved this if no, I don't know. Okay, so I'll switch back to first person view. Come on, there we go. Okay. Think I'm switched back to first person view. Yes. Okay. All right. So go to avatars, choose fallback, and look, this guy has created several fallbacks. So there's that one. There's this one. There's that one. There's this one. Oh, wait, I think we saw that one. Yeah, so this one and this one, but they all have in common no active faces. Now this one maybe, let's see, this one. Oh, I chose another fallback. Let me see. I've got to do, since this one has, okay, here you go. So now we have a really stupid animation on the face. Okay, it looked better before. Like something went wrong when it clicked in. So if I wasn't using full body, then it's got that jaw motion. But so they were able to make a moving jaw. But anyways, again, the baking process makes you think this is an amazingly detailed avatar, and what you think is all that matters, right? If you're seeing it that way. Jeez, my tracking's broken. That is all that matters. So it's essentially a great looking avatar, except you can't have a face. You can't have the eye tracking. You can't have the icon. You can't have what actually makes VR chat a better social experience than Zoom, basically. And so that's not good. And again, since I'm doing first person, I keep forgetting I'm probably moving around way too fast, but I'm going to go back up here to my fallback. Okay, so I don't know why my trackers don't want to. Okay, let's try this again. Let's see. Why? Okay. I don't know what's going on with the trackers. They're both there. It's putting them in the same spot. They're not in the same spot. My hip track. Okay, so I don't know what caused that. It's like it suddenly thinks they're the other way around. You should see they're. Oh, it's not. No, there's the hip tracker. What? Oh, I don't know. Anyways, so for some reason, no, there it goes. Okay, but again, look at the overall quality of this avatar. Now, the hands are a little bit lower quality than, but not too bad. But see, they have the shading, and it reacts. I have my shaders wrong, or this would look an accident that I ended up losing the textures on the pants. But, so what? If that saves a little bit of effort, altogether, not bad. The things that are overall broken on this I can fix. What I can't fix, I haven't been able to fix, what I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours trying to fix was the face. I really wanted to get this right. I really thought it would be great for the game to be able to make avatar packages with fallbacks included, and it's so close. But, okay, for some reason, am I muted? Okay, I don't know why my I'm trying to improve the difference here, and now this one is goofing off. So, I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, the Visibeams should work in the face. If it didn't have all those, the polys would have been down. It wouldn't have broke the face, theoretically. So I have a lot of attempts here. Let's see. There's another one this one says fallback Fox, but okay. This is the higher version. This was like a PC target, and it still broke the face. So I don't know why. I don't know why my Visibeams, however it's pronounced. I don't know why they're not working. Let's see. Do I have anyways, a lot of these were works in progress, so maybe, but that was working at first. So things are going a little bit awry, and this is not edited. Okay, so still, is my microphone working? What's going on? I don't show that I'm muted. Should be my main mic, so weird. So Visibeams just decided on their own to break across the board. That's really nice. Yeah. So, okay, okay. Oh well. But that's the point. You see by those other fallbacks the quality that is possible. And again, just a little bit more leadway, and we can have that for this avatar could look exactly like this, minus the moving hair, and maybe a little closer up, you could tell that the hands, while they give the impression of being detailed, would start to show that they weren't quite well-rounded close up, but it'd be fine. And that can be 12,000 or less polys. It could be 2 materials, and it could exist. But it hasn't been able to exist despite my best efforts and best research at 10K polys and 1 material. So anyways, I think I think the problem here is just VRChat being realistic. I understand they have these targets and such, but honestly, the original Quest, let alone the Quest 2, have been able to handle these outrageous avatars far better than you would think they ever could based on the way that VRChat reports things. And so they've got targets. There's reasons for the targets. And, you get into more full world stuff like that. There's, some of this matters even more. But I've been on the Quest checking it out. Again, an original Quest, when they first allowed you to just simply choose to view an avatar and people quit even trying to hit the Quest marks. I've been in worlds of 20 plus people showing everybody, regardless of, and with the majority of them being ridiculous avatars, and it was still a completely playable experience. I can understand that not being ideal and that they want to get something better. I get it, but they are just aiming so high that they're literally getting nothing accomplished compared to what they could. Now, with the new system, it's defaulting people to fallbacks, and they're having to choose a fallback. So, yeah, with the new system now, they're going to get people in by default as performant avatars, but they're not going to get VR chat by default because people can't do VR chat at the level that they're choosing. So, anyways, that's how close they are to actually getting more people on board with the optimized content. I really think if they can get that over the hump, if somebody can buy an avatar and just included in the price is a fallback version that takes barely any additional effort to make available, and so that's the avatar that they're paying for, that they want people to see them in, can then be seen by everybody playing the game, why wouldn't they do that? But right now, that can't be done practically enough to be done at a cost that somebody would want to pay. But literally, the process for making these things possible, it can be done. Oh, you know what? I'm going to try something real quick. Just had an idea occur to me. All right, so okay, so no. All right, well, I'm wondering if that fallback avatar, by not having visemes, is what's actually messed up the visemes. I gotta figure out exactly how that's supposed to be pronounced. Nope. Anyways, it's not coming back. Let me see. Welcome to my DSL world. My existence is not like the others. Okay, let's see if reloading the world helped, and it did. Okay, so look, now my visemes are working. Sorry about this. I forget how bad it looks when I'm first person in a mirror. It seems like it should be stable. Okay, so now and voila, there you go. So the fallback breaks visor. You cannot see my lips moving because the fallback avatar has no lips. And see, that's the whole point with crossplay all along, is the skeletal system is mostly supposed to match. You can have some extra dynamic bones on your PC avatar, but the base is supposed to match. So hello VR chat, you're actually causing people to break their avatars. But yeah, it's all right there. It's showing what is possible, but it's killing it. So now, once this is broken, even if I change back to a fallback that has the ability to speak, it doesn't unbreak. Nothing's going to unbreak it until I reload the world. Now, maybe a respawn will work too, but definitely reloading fixes the problem. So I can speak again. So there you go, real-time science. I just had that occur to me, like, why are those broken? And who knows, maybe something that was playing with my trackers as well. So there you have it. It's great. They allowed those. Okay, that shows the potential. The avatars look absolutely amazing, but this is why. Like, literally, there's not enough polys being allowed to have a reasonable face. You need more for a face alone. If you get into avatar creation and you're looking at different assets and stuff, you can't even find, like, nobody can make a base and face that you can use by default with fallback avatars, because they can't make one that you're going to want to use by default. Trying to hit those targets is a matter of compromise, give and take, and all of that, and none of it is acceptable on a wholesale level to the point that somebody would do that. So, yeah, you just can't do it. So they need to get with the game, get with reality. And, I don't mean to be so condescending, but at the same time, it is really that simple and that important that we just become realistic about it. They want us to be realistic about the importance of optimization, but they won't be realistic about the importance of having content you actually want, even after optimization. So let's get in the middle here, and we can actually make VR chat work together, developers. All right, hopefully this helped, and again, hopefully someone will listen, and we can spread the word on this. There's another idea I have also, like if they really, really don't want to bend their rules, then the fallback should be abandoned for an alternate avatar system. And okay, so I'm just going to explain it now, but I can actually demonstrate it later. Big Screen Beta only has torso and face avatars. You choose from pre-existing selections and you make your avatar on the spot. It has amazing mouth movements. It has amazing eye tracking. And it's got a nice variety of things to choose from and customizations. It's not VR chat, but at the same time, it is a rich social experience. I don't know how many people have spent time in there. I enjoy karaoke in Big Screen Beta. When someone's hosting a live karaoke where it's live and someone's actually taking the music by request, and anyways, it's great. It's better than karaoke and VR chat. And part of that is because their avatar system captures the important parts of the social aspect. So you don't go into big screen expecting to run around and go nuts. You don't expect to do half of what you do in VR chat, but you do expect to be able to be with other people, present with them, and talk to them, and they get that right. And that's what needs to be gotten right at the base level for VR chat. And so instead of having broken avatars as fallbacks, if they really won't, like I said, if they could just ease up a little bit, we can make the fallbacks work. But if they don't want to do that, or I don't know, if there's some secret behind the scenes, sworn to secrecy thing that prevents them from crossing that line, then the next thing would be something like Big Screen has. You could have a lot of flexibility there. It could pre-exist as part of the game on everybody's PC, so you're not downloading anything. It's just simply the information. The arcade tells you the avatar to put together for this person, the avatar to put together for that person. So download times wouldn't be a thing, and they're optimized by default pretty well. Optimization is not a thing. Performance is not a thing. And anybody and everybody could make a version of that they're fine with. If they don't want to make a version, then you have a default. No big deal. But everyone can just simply go in as if they were going into Big Screen Beta, choose the avatar that they would use, and then in the meantime, they really use just a normal avatar of their choice. But if somebody's settings are blocking them, they would see like the big screen version of themselves or whatever. And they would know too. That's the other part about the fallback system being expanded that's been kind of troublesome. And as someone playing this game on DSL, maybe I experience this more than others even recognize this as a problem. But if you're using your safety settings to try to ease into something and download people gradually or whatever, having them appear as a robot during that process or as diamonds or whatever, perfectly fine. But then, and you could just load them when you wanted to see them or whatever. You were in control of the situation, and it was your reality. It worked okay. Now that people are showing up as fallbacks, it's not readily apparent who's being seen as properly or not. And you have to actually pay more attention if you want to try to see, like, instead of like, oh yeah, click without thinking about it and just click and show somebody, you actually have to make it a point to look at their icon or whatever and see if you're seeing their avatar, or remind yourself like, oh yeah, they're not the stick of butter. And so it's kind of, because the avatars are of limited quality in themselves, it's still it's not the perfect solution. And even though it may help make things look a little bit better with your safety settings being tightened down or whatever, it's not actually helping the experience in most situations. It really just depends on why people are hidden. But if you're just kind of needing to ease the load on your PC and relegate that, then to not know that they're a fallback at a glance is a little bit, it's just detrimental to some degree. And so anyways, it sounds like it might be nitpicky, but it's kind of a big deal. It really is. Uh, Nothing like talking to somebody all along and then finding out later, like you weren't even, you didn't even know who you were talking to. Basically, like they were completely representing of something else. It changes the whole way that you can interact with people sometimes, and it's anyways. So I'm kind of losing my way of explaining that and helping it make sense for anybody that doesn't get it. But it's not a small thing. It's actually a pretty significant gameplay situation. So hopefully I shared it some. But all right, with that, this is kind of falling apart. This is one time through, no edits, no nothing like that. So I'm Digital Sticks. I'm out. If you appreciate some of this content, I would appreciate getting a like in return or subscriptions, and we'll see you around. Should have some better stuff when I get that better internet. So take care and have a good day.